Introduction: The Power of the Quiet Leader. There is an assumption, deeply rooted in many cultures and organizations, that leadership belongs to those who are loudest in the room. The assumption is rarely challenged. From the earliest school days to boardroom dynamics, those who raise their voices, dominate discussions, or radiate visible charisma are often the ones crowned as natural-born leaders. The louder the presence, the more people seem to listen. The more energetic the personality, the more respect appears to follow. Quiet individuals, meanwhile, are often encouraged to speak up, to be bolder, or to become someone they are not in order to be seen, heard, or promoted. This misunderstanding has silenced some of the most capable leaders of our generation. Introversion is not weakness. It is not a flaw, a personality defect, or a developmental gap. It is simply a different wiring, an inward focus that draws energy from reflection, depth, and solitude rather than external stimulation. While society races to amplify voices and reward constant motion, the introverted leader excels by observing patterns, listening with precision, thinking strategically, and influencing through substance rather than style. Yet many introverted professionals, managers, educators, and entrepreneurs still doubt whether they can lead effectively without pretending to be someone else. This book is a declaration of freedom from that lie. The world has always needed calm, thoughtful, grounded leaders. In times of crisis, it is not the loudest voice that brings reassurance, it is the steady one. In moments of transition, people follow those who project quiet confidence more than they do those who merely demand attention. History remembers the impact of leaders who spoke less but said more. Their legacies were not built on flash, performance, or self-promotion, but on deep clarity of thought, consistency of action, and moral strength. These are not just admirable qualities, they are strategic advantages. However, those advantages can remain dormant unless they are understood, refined, and applied with intention. Many introverts reach positions of influence only to feel out of place. They attend networking events that exhaust them, sit through meetings that overwhelm them, or deliver presentations that drain them. Some retreat, others mask. A few press forward with quiet courage but lack the practical tools to thrive in systems that reward extroversion. What is needed is not transformation into something louder. What is needed is a strategy for introverted leadership that is authentic, powerful, and sustainable. There are no shortcuts here, no motivational fluff, and no empty slogans. This book is not an invitation to hide behind personality. It is an invitation to lead from your strengths with clarity, structure, and purpose. You will not be asked to change your nature. You will be equipped to lead with it. The chapters that follow are built on real-world challenges and grounded in practical solutions. They draw on research, real-life examples, and proven strategies tailored to the unique challenges introverted leaders face in a world that often undervalues quiet strength. Every chapter offers a standalone breakthrough. You will learn how to communicate with confidence without shouting, how to delegate without over-explaining, how to motivate teams without dominating the room, and how to project presence without performance. The focus is always practical. Whether you are leading a small team or an entire organization, these strategies are designed to work in daily life, not just theory. You will be guided through decision-making frameworks that support your introspective style, techniques for managing energy in overstimulating environments, and ways to influence without seeking the spotlight. But this is not just a handbook of techniques. It is a mindset shift. One of the most damaging myths surrounding introversion is the belief that it is a disadvantage to be managed, rather than a strength to be harnessed. That myth has led too many leaders to silence themselves, doubt themselves, or force themselves into molds that were never designed for them. The consequence is not only personal burnout, it is collective loss. When introverted leaders withdraw or compromise their true selves, their teams lose access to thoughtful insight, calm direction, and depth of vision. The goal of this book is to break that pattern. If you have ever hesitated to speak because you assumed louder voices would override yours, this book is for you. If you have ever left a meeting replaying what you could have said more clearly, this book is for you. If you have ever felt invisible in rooms where charisma was rewarded more than competence, this book is for you. The strategies presented here are not abstract ideals. They are grounded in the practical realities of leading with quiet confidence in spaces that are often noisy, fast paced, and overstimulated. Consider the difference between a floodlight and a laser. A floodlight spreads energy in all directions. It illuminates broadly but lacks focus. A laser concentrates energy in a narrow beam. It penetrates, it transforms. Introverted leaders often function like lasers, quiet, precise, and powerful when aimed with intention. But too often, their power is diffused by internal doubt or external pressure to conform. The purpose of this book is to focus that power, to refine it, to equip you with the frameworks, communication methods, mindset tools, and decision-making skills that will allow your leadership to shine without compromise. You will explore how to prepare for high-stakes conversations without performance anxiety. You will learn how to design your schedule to protect your energy, how to lead meetings with clarity and control, and how to turn your listening ability into a strategic leadership asset. You will learn how to influence outcomes, not by dominating the discussion, but by steering it with intention and emotional insight. And you will be shown how to build trust, lead through change, and manage conflict without sacrificing your natural temperament. Leadership is not about being extroverted. It is about being effective. It is not about the loudest pitch, but the clearest purpose. People do not follow noise. They follow vision, integrity, and consistency. These qualities are often found in abundance among introverted leaders who are willing to lead from who they are, rather than who they are told to be. The chapters ahead will help you develop that willingness into skill, and that skill into impact. There will be moments in your leadership journey when you are misunderstood. People may mistake your silence for uncertainty or your hesitation for weakness. But with the right strategies, you will learn how to turn those assumptions into your advantage. You will not need to outshout others to be heard. You will learn how to frame ideas that resonate, craft communication that persuades, and lead teams that thrive in psychologically safe and thoughtfully designed environments. You will discover how to stay grounded when others are reactive and how to lead change without chaos. The most powerful leaders are not always the ones with the most visible charisma. They are often the ones who carry deep conviction with quiet steadiness. They do not seek attention, they seek alignment. They are not driven by applause, they are anchored by purpose. These leaders do not demand loyalty, they earn it. That is the type of leader this book will help you become. You will not be asked to perform. You will be asked to lead. You will not be encouraged to pretend. You will be encouraged to practice presence. You will not be told to change your personality. You will be shown how to use it as your strategic advantage. By the end of this book, you will have not only a clearer understanding of your leadership style, but a practical roadmap for elevating it. You will possess tools to manage your time, your team, your communication, and your mindset in ways that protect your energy and amplify your effectiveness. You will stop wasting energy trying to prove your worth in systems that fail to recognize it. Instead, you will begin building environments where your leadership creates lasting change, not because you are the loudest, but because you are the most aligned, the most aware, and the most intentional. Every chapter in this book builds toward that outcome. Each one stands on its own, but together they form a complete framework for quiet leadership that is both practical and transformative. As you move forward, take each strategy seriously. Reflect on the questions that arise. Apply the insights with discipline. Do not skip the hard work of self-awareness, because it is there that real leadership is formed. Quiet confidence is not natural for everyone, but it is attainable for anyone willing to practice it. This is your invitation to lead from within, not in spite of your introversion, but because of it. You are not too quiet to lead. You are not too different to make a difference. You do not need to raise your voice to raise your impact. You only need to believe that your voice matters, and then use it with courage, clarity, and conviction. The world is noisy. Be the calm that guides it. Chapter 1. Understanding your introverted strengths. It is easy to underestimate the quiet. In group settings, the person who speaks the least is often assumed to know the least. Silence is mistaken for insecurity. Calmness is misread as disengagement. Meanwhile, those who talk fast, gesture widely, and think aloud are quickly perceived as assertive, confident, and visionary. This cultural misreading creates a skewed image of leadership, one that leaves introverted individuals feeling unseen or misplaced. Yet within the calm exterior of the introverted leader lies a depth of strength that is often invisible to the untrained eye, but essential for effective leadership. Strength, in this context, is not about dominance or control. It is about composure under pressure, clarity in chaos, and conviction in purpose. These are not traits reserved for extroverts. In fact, research from the University of Cambridge in 2020 revealed that leaders who identified as introverted were more likely to exhibit steady decision-making, active listening, and long-term strategic thinking. These are not minor contributions. They are the foundation of sustainable leadership. Introverted strengths often operate beneath the surface. Unlike extroverted traits, which are easily seen and socially rewarded, introverted qualities tend to be quieter, slower to reveal, and deeper in nature. That depth is what gives them power. Consider the trait of thoughtfulness. In leadership, thoughtfulness is more than kindness, it is foresight. Introverted leaders tend to pause before reacting, consider implications before speaking, and evaluate options before committing. This reduces impulsive decisions and strengthens trust. Teams begin to see their leader as deliberate, not indecisive, patient, not passive. Another key strength is listening. True listening is rare in leadership. Many people hear words while preparing their response, nodding while planning their rebuttal. Introverted leaders often excel in active listening. They ask clarifying questions, create space for others to speak, and notice what is not being said. This sensitivity builds psychological safety, allowing team members to feel seen, heard, and valued. According to a 2021 study by the Harvard Business Review, employees who feel genuinely listened to by their leaders report higher engagement, loyalty, and innovation. Introverted leaders are also known for their strong inner focus. They tend to rely on internal validation rather than external applause. This allows for decisions that align with values and long-term vision, not trends or crowd pressure. While extroverted leaders might draw energy from public affirmation, introverted leaders often gain strength from solitude and introspection. They review their experiences, learn from mistakes, and return with sharper insight. This capacity for deep internal processing leads to wise, well-rounded leadership. One often overlooked strength is the ability to observe. Introverts often notice dynamics that others miss. The slight tension between colleagues, the moment of hesitation in a meeting, the pattern emerging over time. These micro-observations, when integrated into strategy, can prevent conflict, optimize communication, and align teams more effectively. Observation is not passivity. It is intelligence gathering. It allows the leader to respond with precision rather than react with noise. Furthermore, introverted leaders often foster strong one-on-one relationships. While group socializing may feel overwhelming, meaningful individual connections are a core part of how introverts operate. They take time to know people deeply, understand motivations, and mentor with intentionality. In doing so, they build teams rooted in trust, loyalty, and shared purpose. These relationships, though developed quietly, form the backbone of resilient leadership. It is also important to highlight the role of written communication. While verbal flair may not be an introverted leader's strength, clarity in writing often is. Thoughtful emails, detailed proposals, strategic briefs, and reflective memos become tools of influence. Written words allow the leader to express ideas with accuracy and authority, without the pressure of performance. In today's hybrid and remote environments, this skill is no longer optional. It is essential. Some may argue that these strengths are soft skills, and that modern leadership demands bold vision and fast execution. But that assumption overlooks the fact that some of the most respected leaders in business, science, and politics have been introverts who mastered their own style rather than mimicking someone else's. Warren Buffett, for example, attributes much of his success to long hours of reading, thinking, and resisting the hype of the crowd. Rosa Parks, through one quiet act of courage, ignited a national movement. Bill Gates built Microsoft not through performance, but through sustained, focused innovation. Their influence came not from speaking the loudest, but from standing firm in their values, decisions, and work. Understanding your strengths as an introverted leader begins with rejecting the myth that leadership must be extroverted to be effective. The moment you stop apologizing for being quiet is the moment your influence begins to grow. This shift is not about superiority or inferiority. It is about alignment. When your leadership is aligned with your natural design, you become more present, more strategic, and more confident. Not because you have learned to fake energy, but because you have stopped wasting it. It also requires reframing moments of discomfort as strategic opportunities. For example, if a networking event feels overwhelming, approach it as a chance for one meaningful conversation rather than many shallow ones. If leading a meeting creates anxiety, prepare with a structured agenda and speak early to establish your voice. These are not tricks. They are tailored strategies that allow your strengths to operate in environments not built for them. Adaptation is not abandonment, it is intelligent engagement. Another important shift is recognizing the power of intentional silence. In leadership, silence can be a weapon of thoughtfulness, not a sign of weakness. It creates space, it signals gravity, it invites others to think, not just speak. When used with intention, silence can deepen discussions, de-escalate tension, and command respect. The key is to wield it with clarity, not hesitation. When you own your silence, you turn it from something to overcome into something to use. Understanding your strengths also involves letting go of unnecessary comparison. Extroverted leaders may inspire teams with energy, charisma, and speed. That is their lane. It is effective in many contexts, but so is yours. Your value does not diminish because it manifests differently. When you compare yourself to someone with a completely different operating system, you miss the brilliance of your own. Comparison clouds confidence. Clarity builds it. One practical way to build this clarity is through reflection. Begin tracking where your energy rises and where it falls. Notice which types of leadership activities give you strength and which drain you. Pay attention to the moments when your quiet presence made a difference. When a well-timed comment shifted a conversation, when your careful planning avoided a crisis, or when your listening diffused conflict. These are not minor wins, they are evidence. They tell the story of your leadership style in action. Do not dismiss compliments that highlight your calmness, reliability, or thoughtful nature. These are reflections of your strength. Own them. They are not weaknesses to fix. They are foundations to build on. Leadership is not about changing your core. It is about maximizing it. Introverted leaders also tend to have an edge in resilience. Their inner life is often rich with self-awareness, purpose, and conviction. When challenges arise, they are less likely to be destabilized by opinion or noise. They may not react first, but when they respond, their decisions carry weight. This composure, often cultivated over time, becomes a quiet superpower in times of change or uncertainty. The path to understanding your introverted strengths is not always smooth. There will be resistance, misunderstanding, and moments when your silence is misread. But that does not mean your leadership is ineffective. It means the system you are navigating was not built with your style in mind. Your job is not to dismantle that system all at once. It is to master your style so completely that it becomes impossible to ignore. This mastery begins with internal permission. The permission to lead as you are, not as others expect. The permission to see listening as influence. The permission to see thoughtfulness as strategic. The permission to see quietness as strength. When that permission is granted, not by others, but by yourself, it changes everything. You begin to show up more fully. You speak with more clarity. You prepare with more precision. You trust your process, even when it looks different from the extroverted blueprint. You no longer waste energy trying to match volume. You conserve it to maximize impact. Introversion is not a barrier. It is a path. But like any path, it must be walked with awareness, intention, and strategy. You cannot simply hope that others will notice your leadership. You must make it noticeable, not by changing your tone, but by refining your tools. That is what this book will offer you in the chapters to come. You have already taken the first step by acknowledging that your leadership style matters. The next step is to develop it, not into something louder, but into something sharper, deeper, and more aligned with your nature. When you lead from who you are, your presence carries weight, not because it is louder, but because it is real. You are not here to echo others. You are here to lead in a way that honors your rhythm, your voice, and your design. The quiet leader is not invisible. The quiet leader is intentional. And when intentionality meets preparation, impact follows.